Hey guys, what's up? This is Mel, and I know it's been a long time, but I'm here to talk about Sailor Moon Crystal. 2 episodes this time. That is episode or Act 33, which is episode 7 of the season, titled Infinity 6 Three Guardians, which was released Monday, May 16th, 2016, as well as Act 34, which is the 8th episode of the season, titled Infinity 7 Transformations Super Sailor Moon, which was released Monday, May 23rd, 2016, and today I'm recording on June 16th, 2016. Wow, a whole month. I'm so behind. I do apologize about that, though, but with it being 2 episodes, I'm going to do the 20-minute clock, and let's begin. So, something new that we learned in both these episodes. So, in Infinity 6, we meet the last of which is 5, and that is Cyprine, and her twin Patole. Basically, I remember them as the blue and red twins, of which is 5. Together, they form the last witch, and they are level 999. So, which makes me wonder, is Calonite level 1,000 or something like that? Like, how far do these levels go up? But anyways, she manages to place all the Guardians, except Sailor Moon, under her spell, and it has each one of them attacking one another. So you got the inner Sailor Guardians teaming up and attacking the outer Sailor Guardians. So there is that. We also, before that, we get a formal introduction of the outer Sailor Guardians as they are presented to Princess Serenity. And we also get the explanation of what the 3 talismans are for, of what exactly those 3 talismans are, as you know that each of the outer Sailor Guardians have a talisman as their main weapon choice. Also, in order to break the Sailor Guardians out of Cyprine's spell, something amazing happens. Okay, so since it's only Sailor Moon, and then after they all get caught in the spell, Tuxedo Mask and Sailor Chibi Moon enter the scene, and they're not affected as well either. So the 3 of them join together and try to unite their hearts. And by doing that, they call upon the Holy Grail, or they summon the Holy Grail. And with the Holy Grail, it pretty much knocks all the other Sailor Guardians out of this spell when they have this underlying urge to lend their power towards Sailor Moon, who uses the Holy Grail to combine all of the Sailor Guardians' power into the Holy Grail and then pour itself into Sailor Moon, which turns her into Super Sailor Moon. Something Sailor Chibi Moon is so excited to see because she's heard stories about Super Sailor Moon. And in this new form, Sailor Moon destroys the last of which is 5, which is I'm calling the twins. So she destroys them with her attack. Moving on to Infinity 7, aka Act 34, or the 8th episode of the season, we learn more about the history of the Silver Millennium, especially with the parts that this outer Sailor Guardians had in that. Now, normally in their past life, they were never supposed to meet. The outer Guardians, their representative planet was far enough away that they would never meet. So when Silver Millennium was destroyed, they were never allowed to leave their post. So they had to watch from afar as the Silver Millennium was destroyed. But apparently, it was destroyed by Sailor Saturn. And Sailor Saturn is called upon when all 3 of the talismans are brought together. And together they unlock, or they awaken Sailor Saturn, who is the deity of destruction. And apparently, Haruka, Michiru, and Setsuna know that Hotaru is the reincarnation of Sailor Saturn. And they have been trying to hold off her reawakening, but they know that Hotaru is feeling that shift inside of her. Also in this episode, we find out that Hotaru, after the fire that killed her mother years ago, due to how badly burned or how badly injured she was, her father, Professor Tomo, used his research and kind of turned Hotaru into half human, half machine, as he recreated her limbs into this into his cybernetic research from the looks of it. So now it kind of reminded me, if you've seen the movie I, Robot with Will Smith, how he has that one arm and then it looks like he has regular skin, but then if you damage it enough, you can actually see the metalwork underneath that forms the arm. It kind of reminded me like that. But Hotaru has that for all 4 of her limbs, and then it's some kind of science that gets the skin covering over it, because at one point you see the cybernetic and then all of a sudden it's covered by skin as if it were to grow back on. So we got to see that part of Hotaru, and it explains why she's always covered up. So there is that. Also, we learned that the Outer Sailor Guardians have a mission to kill Hotaru in order to stop Sailor Saturn from re-emerging. They're hoping that they could seal her away, but Sailor Moon and the other Inner Guardians refused that plan, which causes the Outer Guardians to separate from them and go forward. However, before they could do anything, Hotaru transforms into this other being that is part of the Death Busters, as she has the form of the black star on her forehead, and she actually grows up older, I guess you could say. Kind of like how with, what was her name? Wicked Lady or Black Lady, with being the older, corrupted version of Chibiusa back last season. So for now, I'm calling her Evil Hotaru, since she hasn't been named to our Sailor Guardians at this point. She actually steals the legendary silver crystal from Sailor Chibi Moon when she had tried to come and talk Evil Hotaru back to being herself. And because of this, without the legendary silver crystal, she not only detransforms, but Chibi Moon or Chibiusa actually falls lifeless. In time for a Tuxedo Mask to catch her, and that's how the episode ends, with Evil Hotaru ranting to her master that she finally got the legendary silver crystal. So there is that. What was the most shocking moment of these 2 episodes for me? I'd have to say that Hotaru is pretty much part machine, thanks to her father's research. And it was the same research that discredited him in the scientific community. I wasn't expecting that at all. Again, I've watched the classics version of Sailor Moon back in the 90s when I was a kid, but no point in that did I remember her being a machine. So it definitely surprised me when it happened in this episode. It was also surprising to see just how Sailor Moon transformed into Super Sailor Moon. It definitely happened a lot earlier in the classics, especially since it happened after, I believe, Udao managed to collect the 3 talismans together, I believe. It's been a while since I've seen it. But yeah, so that's also a surprise as well. Although the appearance of Super Sailor Moon wasn't surprising, since the title of the episode is called that, which kind of sucks. I hate when they do that. But it's a good reference point for later on. I'm just saying, though. But moving on, top 3 favorite moments. First, for Infinity 6, my favorite part is the appearance of the Holy Grail and how Sailor Moon got her power up. Like I said before, it's very different from how it happened from the classics version. And I really like how it happened in this episode, how it was the combining of power between, I guess you could say, the future royal family, who managed to call for the Holy Grail, as the classics had it being the combination of the talismans that called upon the chalice to appear, and then to have the powers from the other Sailor Guardians be lent to Sailor Moon to the Grail so that she could absorb it to become Super Sailor Moon. I really like how it was done this way as opposed to the classics. It seemed like more of a collective effort to help her become this stronger soldier. Next favorite moment has to be between Sailor Moon and Sailor Uranus. It was just the apology scene to Sailor Uranus to Sailor Moon about all the confusion, and how the Outer Guardians kind of explain just why that kind of confusion needed to happen, or explain more of who Sailor Uranus was, and how even though they didn't mean for that confusion, it has happened before. So I really liked it. I also liked the fact that it actually surprised me how close Sailor Uranus got to Sailor Moon when so many eyes on them. I wasn't expecting it at all, but I definitely liked it. That Sailor Uranus forgot about all the eyes and just approached Sailor Moon and tried to apologize for the fact that she caused all this confusion for her. So there's that. Also, I like how all the Guardians were fighting each other. Yes, it sucked that it was the bad guy who was causing them to do this, because otherwise they wouldn't. But I liked that we got to see them in action. Okay, it was against each other, but I liked that we got to see their attacks. I liked how we got to see them team up with each other and attack their opponent, which happened to be others, but let's forget who the target was at the moment. What I really liked was that we got to see all their different attacks. We got to see how they teamed up with each other. We got to see how they would defend each other. It's just great to see what kind of power they were willing to throw at each other, which is fantastic. Did I want them fighting each other? No, but the fact that they were fighting each other allowed for us to see them more in action, because if they were against an enemy, they could easily just use one attack and destroy them. That doesn't really progress the fight, or it doesn't allow us to see a bigger fight happening, if you know what I mean. Based off of the next episode, Infinity 7, what I liked was the comedic moment back at Hotaru's apartment with all the Guardians. And it was just the little rants about how she couldn't stand to see the repair bill that she's going to get for the place, and how the inner Guardians were reacting to how much money she was paying for rent. It was just a great comedic moment after all the intense information they were getting beforehand. It was fun to see. Also, what I really liked as well was all the different flashbacks we got to see in this episode. Not only with Hotaru's situation, but also with what was happening back at the Silver Millennium, and how we got to see just what had happened and how it was destroyed, and then also to see how the reincarnated versions of the Outer Sailor Guardians lived their lives before reawakening and going undercover to try to figure out this whole dark aura around the Mugen Academy. It's just great to see that the flashbacks of what the Outer Sailor Guardians had to deal with during a time when we were only solely focused on what the Inner Guardians were doing. So I really like that as well. So top 3 peak moments. This one's a mashup between the 2 episodes. But the first one was the fact that ripping off the brooch from Sailor Chibi Moon somehow turns her into a lifeless form. Apparently, it's happening in her case. But I don't know if that's because she's smaller in size and she's younger. That's why she reacted to the brooch being taken away from her with the legendary silver crystal. Or if they've shown previously that removing that is kind of like removing their heart. Not sure, but it seemed pretty extreme in that sense. I would have expected the brooch being ripped and then she falling powerless and just being like out of breath, as if she'd taken on a lot of hard attacks thrown at her, and just like quivering and like bruised up and like looking on it as if an important part of her was taken from her. I thought that would have been the case instead of her just falling lifeless to leaving the ground. So there's that. Also, the last peeve, I don't know if just because it's how much time has changed, but the fact that Chibiusa was exploring the city alone the way she was. Granted, I know that she's technically a 900-year-old being stuck in a 6-year-old's body, if you will. I believe that's the case for her. But for me, with the day and age we're living with, it just seems so unnatural that a kid would be exploring the city alone like Chibiusa was doing. But then again, this was first introduced back in the 90s. But then again, that still seems off. Like, yeah, it's just nowadays you rarely see kids exploring their city on their own, or even such a busy city like Tokyo, like Chibiusa was exploring. It's just, that was really peevish, just maybe because it was just so unsettling for me, or maybe it's just because it just seems so out of place for me. I wasn't expecting. It's like, whoa, where's her parents, or where's Usagi? Is she not nearby watching her and stuff like that? So just maybe it's an out of place at a time type thing for me. Moving on, the what moment I remember most when I look back on these 2 episodes. Super Sailor Moon is definitely a good one to remember her by. The appearance of Evo Hotaru as well. And more backstory into the role that the Outer Sailor Guardians play as well. It's a huge reminder. So moving on though, random questions. First one, since when could the Guardians fly when they're not in battle? Because if you can see, in order for them to get to Hotaru's apartment, they all flew down from the roof. And like, since when can they fly? Like, I understand them jumping really high, but that's during an attack, and the attack is usually has blowback that could usually push them back up in the air. But since when could they fly? Like, did I miss something, or was it just always an assumed power they had once they put the Guardian suits on? It just that totally threw me off, so I'm just wondering about that. Next question. If the Outer Sailor Guardians were never meant to be in contact, then why did they never stay apart in this reincarnated time if they knew the risk of Sailor Saturn being awakened? I really don't understand that. Plus, if that's also the case, then why did Haruka and Michiru stay in contact long enough that they would form a relationship together if they know they were meant to never come into contact with each other and risk the awakening of Sailor Saturn? Just that part about the story just didn't really make sense unless the reincarnated versions fell in love with each other before they got reawakened as Sailor Guardians. It's the only thing that I could think of that could explain how Haruka and Michiru could still be in a relationship, knowing that them being together risks the reawakening of Saturn even more. Because then I think I'd sit well with me if Haruka and Michiru had met and fallen in love with each other before they were reawakened as Uranus and Neptune. What's your take on that? I'm wondering if I'm the only one who sees that, but let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear about it. Also, last question. Based off the flashbacks, I'm under the impression that Sailor Saturn is the one that completely destroyed the Silver Millennium Kingdom. Or was she the sole cause of its demise? Or was she the last nail in the coffin, per se? Memory's a little iffy about who actually caused the destruction of the Silver Millennium or why it actually fell. But from the flashbacks, it gave me the impression that Sailor Saturn is the one who truly destroyed everything. So I'm just wondering if she's the one that caused the destruction to begin with, or if it just so happened that because it was destroyed, then she was reawakened, and then she destroyed everything even further. So I'm just wondering which version of it is. But let me know in the comments below if you have any answers about that for me. If not, I probably have to go back to I have to go read the manga and see if it has answers for you, which I haven't read yet. I've only read up to, I guess you could say, I only finished after the Queen Beryl stuff, so there's that. Moving on to predictions, though, based off the preview that was shown at the end of Infinity 7, it looks like for Infinity 8, we see unresponsive Chibiusa, and we also see the Sailor Guardians being trapped in a maze, from the looks of it. In regards to any of the predictions further on, I'm not going to give any, not only because I watched the classics, but also because technically the next 2-3 episodes are already posted. They've already been released, so me giving a prediction is just won't seem right since they're technically up. But I'm going to go watch those now and record another video. So that's what it is. What did you guys think of these 2 episodes? What did you like about it? Did you notice any other differences between the classics and this crystal version? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear about it, as well as your own thoughts and theories. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and check out my other videos if you haven't done so already. Also, if you want, check out my Tumblr page for the Sailor Moon tag. The link for that will be down below. I don't really post for Sailor Moon that often. It's just whatever pops up on my dashboard I'll post, but it's for both classics and crystal for that tag, so check that out. I might change it later on, but I do have to update Tumblr regardless, so follow me there if you like. That's about it. So thank you guys so much for tuning in. So sorry for delay. I'm still trying to get used to the fact that Sailor Moon is released every week instead of every other week, like they did with the previous 2 seasons. Yeah, so I hope you tune in next time to see what I have to say about the next episodes. But until then, this is Mel. Wish you a great day, great week, wherever you are. Timer's still going with 30 seconds left, but I'm done. Bye for now.